Round two of another prison dish or two. Today I'm gonna be making burritos and or tamales. My ingredients will be something similar to the same of the fish dish, but a few things different. We got hot Cheetos, we got hot chicharrones, we got hot Fritos, we also have regular Doritos, we also have regular chicharrones, we got tortillas, chorizo beans, we got ramen soup again, we got dog sauce. This time we're gonna be adding sriracha, pickle, jalapenos, casabella peppers, summer sausage, mozzarella cheese, and pepper jack cheese for either one dish or two. All right, so what we're gonna make today and first is the burrito round. So with that being said, we are going to use these Tupperware bowls. You might be wondering, how the hell do you got Tupperware bowls in prison? But in the state of Colorado and most penitentiaries, you are able to order special items, which is called catalog items. And in a minimum facility, you are able to receive this type of box, and this is called a faith box for faith and religious purposes only. And this right here is just regular Tupperware bowls. So with these bowls, I will be cooking in and I will be separating different ingredients to get the flavors flowing. So my first step is what I want to do is add my rice into the faith bowl. Then I want to add a ramen soup. Again, we're going to bust it on the floor like the county. You want all of the noodles to be broken up evenly, so that way it'll cook the exact same way every other noodle will cook within itself. Once you have it flattened out, you will not feel too much of anything lumpy in here. Once it's smooth, open the package up and dump out your ramen. This seasoning packet, we will use this to flavor our ingredients. You can use the whole packet, but I wouldn't recommend it. We just use about half. Shift it around, your rice, your noodles, and your seasoning packet. Next thing you want to do is get hot water, as hot as you can get it. In most penitentiaries, you are able to order a hot pot, but it's only going to get to a certain temperature unless you rig it to make it boil. You don't want to add too much water, but just enough to cover the rice and the noodle packet. Shift it around until you get a texture similar to that. You want to cover up the faith box to allow the contents in it to cook itself. That's the blow up stage, we call it, because it will have a lot more than what you see once it's fully cooked. Next thing I want to do is open up the sausage. In prison, they don't have knives, but you can get your hands on one for a good price. With this being a burrito round, of course you want your burritos meaty, so I'm going to cut up half of this sausage. Next step is cutting the sausage to square or cube-like shapes. Once your sausage is completely cut, you have it in your bowl. Next step, you want to add the remaining of your noodle packet for extra seasoning. Next, we're going to run with the sriracha. We used dog sauce last time, but we're going to add this sriracha to switch up the flavor. Grab a spoon or a fork or whatever you may have in the pot or your sill to shift the meat around. Add some more sriracha. The more you add, the more spicier it will be. Add just a little bit more. Again, shift it around. Sometimes you might have a little bit of seasoning remaining. Never hurts to re-sprinkle it. Shift it back around. Then your meat will be done. Next, I want to check the rice and the soup. Okay, my hands are clean. So I'm checking the texture. My noodles are cooked, but I can feel that my rice is still a little crunchy. So what I'm gonna do is take this to the microwave. Most units, most facilities do have microwaves unless you are in a maximum facility where you're locked down 23-in-1. But I'm gonna just add a minute to the time to cook it to try to catch the texture up with the noodles. Because you don't want to eat a burrito and break a tooth. Now I want to check to see how good this cooked. And from the feel of things, yep, it cooked the way it needed to. So what I'm going to do now is add the lid on top of the rice and the noodles for it to fully cook itself. And as you can see, the steam inside here is letting you know that it's going to continue to cook. So my next step is I want to cook the meat. As it sat with the ramen noodle seasoning and the sriracha, it somewhat tenderized itself, and when you add it to the microwave and cook it, after the first minute, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to show you that the meat is now more moisturized. So I'm going to stir it up. I'm going to throw it back in the microwave for an additional 60 seconds. See, you can see the grease in the bowl. What? But now you know that the meat is tender. After tasting it, yep, it's definitely ready for the next step. So after that is tenderized, I'm going to add a lid on top of the meat bowl to allow it to continue to cook itself as the rice and the noodle pack. Put this out the way. My next step is to get the beans. These are the chorizo beans. Normally, in the penitentiary, you are not getting any type of cans, so they come dehydrated in bags. After you get most of the beans in, your next step is to add water, because ain't none of these beans getting wasted. So I'm gonna do a half a can of water. Mix it up. Try to collect as much as the beans as you can while adding it up. You might not want to put that much in, so I'm gonna leave it there. Mix that around. If it's too much water, just go ahead and drain the water back into the cup. After you have your beans at a consistent texture, Do what you did with the first two ingredients. Add some heat to that thing. I'm going to start off by cooking it for a minute. Beans are done. The consistency that I'm looking for is a pudding-like. And that's exactly what that is. Chocolate pudding. If your beans is turning like that, then you know you did it right. If it's not, if it's too thick, add more water, re-stir it, add a little bit more heat in the microwave, and your consistency should come out again, something like that. Next step, I'm gonna add the beans with my rice and my noodles. After the beans are in, I'm gonna grab my meat. You see how the meat was still kind of moist? It's because of the grease. Next step, mix all the contents together, which is your rice, your noodles, your meat, your beans, your sriracha, and also the seasoning packet from the ramen noodles. After you get it mixed up, where all the rice is in white, then you know it's mixed correctly. Next step, put the faith box and or Tupperware bowl in the microwave and cook all the contents for 1 minute.
Idiot.
What's
Go.
up?
The video. I'll cut it. Go.
Beans, sausage, rice, seasoning packet, and sriracha. You hear how that thing's milking? That's what it should sound like when you're stirring it up after the last minute of everything cooking. Mix it up again. Final step of this process is adding the lid on top of the faith box again for it to cook. Next step, clear this out the way. What you're gonna wanna do is get your jalapeno wheels and your casabella peppers out, diced, and add it to the mix. So there isn't the right amount of how much to use. It's all personal preference. All right, with the casabella peppers and the jalapenos chopped up, I have that ingredient right here. So I'm gonna slide this over. Next, I'm gonna grab the cheese. I have mozzarella cheese and pepper jack. Something you may not have seen before, and you may see for the first time. Yes, this is dental floss. And this is how we cut cheese in prison. Just like that. It peels back, layers. There's a layer right there. Watching these videos, you might learn something. it back. And it slices it again. But that's just a little something I wanted to show you. We ain't got time for that right now. After the cheese is cut, I will add the cheese into the rest of the mix. So I grab a little bit of each and kind of throw it around in different areas. So you see I didn't use all the cheese, but most of it I did. Next step, I'm gonna add this into the microwave and cook this for a minute. This is the consistency I'm looking for. Next step, mix this around. So you see all the water already cooked. So there's nothing in there that's got it soggy or floating. Once this is mixed properly, your next step is your chicharrones. It's the next best step to adding or acting like you have meat, because the way it cooks itself, it makes it real like a spongy type meat texture. So everything we do is spicy. So we have the option of non-spice or spice. So we're definitely gonna run with the spice. And I would recommend at least half the bag. Chicharrones, which are pork rinds. If they're too big, kind of want to break them down a little bit. And you might not even want to use half the bag. Mix it just a little bit, but not to crunch it, because you want these chips to kind of get soft and cook with the rest of the mix. One of two of the last final steps is warming up your tortillas. So thinking about it, the reason why I didn't use the whole bag is because we didn't cook a whole dozen burritos. If you do more burritos, which is typically a dozen at a time, you would use a whole bag of the chicharrones, you would use more of a sausage, and you would use more cheese. But as a demonstration, we will be making about 3 burritos. So I will warm up 3 tortillas. Final step, checking the product before we make the burrito. First thing I'm gonna check is the chicharrones. They're softer than what they were. So I'm gonna grab the spoon. I'm gonna drop about 2 or 3 spoonfuls of the burrito mix onto the tortilla. Keep it in the center. Next thing I want to do is add some of these peppers that I cut up prior. The reason why you fold the ends of the tortillas in is so that way your contents does not fall out. There's one.
Okay.
All right, as it being the second burrito, same thing, 2-3 scoops. But another way you can address this burrito is by adding your cheese on top of the mix and a couple of the chicharrones off to the side. The reason for that is if you don't eat all your burritos in one sitting, if you have a dozen, you really won't be able to do that. But later on, what you do is you warm them up and the cheese will melt all over the contents and your chicharrones will also get a lot more softer. So same thing, you fold your ends and roll it. In the penitentiary, the way we keep our burritos fresh are using newspaper or any type of magazine material. You would roll the burrito up in that material, put it back in your dozen bag, and therefore you have a DLC penitentiary burrito. All right, we're gonna taste the burritos. This is the final product as we did the last time. Let my family see what it is. I say add a little bit of dog sauce.
Nah.
Bubba first.
Take a bite, booty. Take a bite of Papa's. Well, she might not like it. Okay,
Oh.
okay.
There you go.
You like that?
Righteous.
Give Andrew a bite.
Bubba didn't like it. She gave me it.
Yeah?
Oh.
Let me get a
She got
bite.
a pepper.
Good.
Only thing missing, if I had to add anything, is some squeezed cheese. And what that is cheese that comes in a little bag that you rip open and you can kind of use it as a spread. But they don't sell it in the stores. I searched high and low. If you got anybody in the penitentiary, tell them to send it in. Squeezed
I don't
cheese.
need squeeze cheese.
You don't need them?
100.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.